Hi guys, welcome to How to Crack the Java Interview. Yeah, today we'll discuss one of the Java 8 features, beautiful Java 8 feature, most powerful Java 8 feature that is default method. Default method and default method, virtual extension method and depender method. Both are same. What is default method? Java 1.8 version. Java 1.8 version Java 1.8 version default method also inside interface. Java 1.8 version Java 1.8 version Java Java 1.8 version Java 1.8 version default method default method default method also default method also inside interface. Okay, Java 1. Version onwards. Java 1. Version onwards. We can take default method inside the interface. Java 1.8 onwards, we can take inter default method inside the interface. What is the purpose of interface, sir? What is the purpose of interface, sir? We'll discuss. Until until Java 1.7. First we'll check until Java 1.7 version. Okay, what are the changes in interface? Until Java 1.7 version, every method, every every method present present inside interface. Every method present inside interface is 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 always is always is always public and public and abstract. Public and abstract. Always public and abstract. Always public and abstract. Before Java 8 until Java 1.8 version, every method present inside the interface always public and abstract. Whether you are declaring or not declaring, always it is public and abstract. How can you declare? Void. Just example, I want to declare a method void m1. If you declare like this, and you can also take like public void m1. You can take also like public void m1. You can also take like abstract void m1. You can take any type like this. If you take anything, all are equal. If you take anything, all are equal. All are equal. Okay. Then related to related to method related to method Java 1.8 version. In Java 1.8 version. Java 1.8 version. Default method also allowed. Default method also allowed. Default method allowed. And and static method also allowed. Third also allowed. Okay, okay. Then in Java 1.9 Java 1.9 version Java 1.9 version Java 1.9 version public method also allowed. Private sorry, private method also allowed. Then sir sir these are the related to method. Wha- Then what about the variable, sir? What about the variable, sir? What about the variable, sir? Variable, variable, variable. Every variable inside the interface, every variable inside interface, every variable inside interface always. Every variable inside the interface always public, static, final. Public static final. Whether whether it is in Java 1.7 or Java 1.8 or Java 1.9. Everywhere it is everywhere there is no changes everywhere. It is public static final, no changes. Yes, actually, no enhancement for the variable in newer version of Java. Newer version of Java. Okay, okay. We'll discuss default method. Default method. We'll discuss about default method now. Default method. Default method. Virtual extension method. Depender method. All are same. What is defender? Defender. Why it is called defender? What is meaning of the defender? Defender means person who defends, who will provide protection. That is called defender. What is default method? Default method is what is the use of a default method, sir? It is very important, very powerful concept. It is very important, very beautiful concept in Java. Let us let us one Java program here. Let us one Java program here. Java program here. I have an interface. I have a just example. I have an interface. Interface I interface I have two methods. Public void m1. Public void m1 and public void m2. Public void m1, public void m2. Public void m1, public void m2. I have two methods in my interface. Then I have to write one implementation class, that is interface. You have to write implementation class. Just an example, that is a implementation class. class test one implements 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 interface I. Then then how many method I should be provide? Many method I should provide implementation? There are two method in interface. I have to provide two implementation I should provide here. Then I have to provide the implementation of these two methods m1 and m2. M1 and m2. Okay, I will give the implementation for this. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, these are the two implementation. How many interface are we seeing here? Only one interface. How many implementation class we are seeing here? One implementation class. Sir, how many implementation can provide? How many implementation can provide for interface? How many implementation class? How many implementation class? You can take many number of implementation class. You can take many number of implementation class. There is no problem. Okay, I can write many number of implementation class like text T2, test T3, up to test T100, test T2, test T2, test T3, test and up to test 100. Can write many number of implementation class. Many number of implementation class. Just example, in collection interface. Do you know the collection interface? Collection interface. Okay, collection interface. Collection interface. Collection interface. Yeah, collection interface have how many implementation class? Collection interface have so many implementation class. This is the collection class, collection interface, collection interface, collection interface have a implementation class, have one implementation class like array list, another implementation class like linked list, another implementation class like uh, vector, another implementation class like asset, another implementation class like linked asset, like like col- so many implementation class in collection interface. So many implementation class, so many implementation class, so many implementation class. First one is array list. First one is array list. Array list. Second one is linked list. Third one is third one is vector. Fourth one is hash set. Linked hash set. Like this collection class, collection interface, we can provide multiple implementation class. Okay, like this Java, one interface can have multiple implementation class. There is no problem at all. Here interface is one, but implementation class are more. Okay, okay, that is my program. Then it is working or not. We'll check. We'll check. Is there any problem? If you are okay, Java C test. It is compiled or not? Are getting the compile time error. Yes, Java C test. Yeah, it is compiled properly. There is no compile time error here. There is no compile time error here. Okay, okay. Then, then tomorrow, then tomorrow, one new feature came tomorrow. Just example, you are working on a XYZ company for a product, for a, that product also used by another company means so many customer you have so many customer using that product. One new requirement come from one of the customer. You need to add a new feature. You need to add a new feature, a new functionality. Then for this, if you add a new method in the interface, you have to add a new method in the interface, like another new feature to add a new method inside the interface m3. Then what will happen? That code will execute or not? That code will be compiled or not? We'll check. We'll check. Tell me, sir, that will compile or not? That code will compile or not? It will give the compile time error. Test 1, compile time error. Test 2, test 3, up to test 100. Everywhere that is compiled time error. What is the problem, sir? What is the problem, sir? Ab- if you add a new method in the interface, if you try to add a new method in your interface, all the implementation class will affect. Why? If if you add a new method inside the interface, then every implementation class compulsory to provide implementation. Every implementation class compulsory to provide the implementation. You have to provide implementation for the M3 method everywhere in your every implementation class. Every implementation class, if you try to add a new method in the interface, all the impl- all the implementation class will affect. Then, then Java people identify that problem. Tomorrow, I want to extend the functionality of the interface by adding the new method. How can I do this without affecting the implementation classes? If if it is possible to add a new method in interface, that concept is nothing but default method. That concept is nothing but a default method without adding, without affecting implementation, without affecting implementation classes. You can happily add dep- happily add a new method in interface that is called default method. That is a new method in interface. Now we'll we'll check what what that code is compiled or not. Code is compiled or not. Code is compiled or not. Code is compile or not? Code is compile or not? We'll check that. Okay. Second. Yeah. Body missing. Sorry. Yeah. Default method. We have to add a new method with implementation. You have to add a new method with implementation. Then it will compile. Means that is called default method. Okay. Why you need default method without affecting the implementation class? If you want to extend the functionality of interface, then you should go for the default method. What is default here? What is default here, sir? What is default here, sir? Default. What is default? Default is not a modifier. Why the word is default here? Why? Because because this method having default implementation, then interface adding the default implementation will give notification to all the classes. Hey, implementation class, I have added one default implementation. If you are interested, you can use that. If you are interested, you can use that. If you are not interested, not a issue. But if you not satisfy, you can override that method and provide one meaningful implementation. Mm, if you don't like to use this default implementation, if you don't like to the default implementation, then you can override and no problem, sir. Default method. Okay, then Java people successfully added one default method here. Is 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 that default method is by default. Default method is by default available to the implementation class or not? That default method is by default available to that implementation class or not? Yes, yes. That default method is by default available to the implementation class. If you are not satisfied with that default implementation class, then you can override that default method. Default method you can't directly write to the class because if you write default method like this, if you write default method like this, if you write default method like this, then then system dot out dot println welcome in test one in test one. Okay, if you directly write the default method inside the class, the class, it will has different meaning. Means we'll see, means it will take as a modifier in the class. Then we cannot write the default method directly inside the method. You can override that method. You can override that method like this. Then who is responsible to provide the who is responsible to provide the um, meaningful implementation? One question, sir. Default method is dummy implementation or not? Default method is the dummy implementation. Default method is the dummy implementation. Okay, okay. I'll show notepad another class. We'll see if you add directly. If you add directly, save as new test dot java, new test dot java. I have interface like this. I have interface. I have interface. I interrupt interrupt. Then I have to provide one implementation class. I have to provide one implementation class. Test new 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 test new test implements interrupt one interface, then 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 just example, I have two methods. First is public abstract, then I compulsory I have to provide the implementation for this. Then second one is default method. How to override the default method? If you directly write the default method, what will happen? We'll check. If I directly write the default method inside the class, what will happen? We'll check. See, stm system.out.println of inside test. Okay, okay. We'll compile this. We'll check is successfully compiled or not. Java C, Java C, new test dot Java, new test dot Java. Yeah, we will get the compiler will give the left and right. Default modifier is not allowed here. Default modifier is not allowed in the class. Then how can we override? How can we provide the implementation? How can you provide the some meaningful implementation of the default method? By using public. We'll see if it is working or not. It is working or not. Yeah, it is working. Then Java, Java, new test. Java, new test. Yeah, main method is not there. You have to write the main method there. Okay, okay. Public static void main string args string args. Then you can create the object of a new test, your class test t equal to new test new test. Then t dot m3 t dot m3. Then default method, you have to provide the dummy implementation for this. System.out.println 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 inside interface. Then after that is my class. I override m1 method and override one default method. Then public static void main. Then which method will call? It will call the m3 method, implementation m3 method inside my class. Inside my class. The semicolon is missing. Semicolon is missing. Okay. Okay. We'll check that. We'll check that. Yeah. It is compiled properly. Yeah. Inside the test. Inside the test. If you not override, then by default, by default, that default method will available to the implementation class. If you not override that, by default, by default, that implementation class will be that default method will be available to the implementation class. Will test Java C, compile properly. Yeah, inside interface. Then it is by default calling the default implementation. Okay, we'll go to next. Means who is responsibility to give the implementation of default method? The implementation class is responsibility to the give the fully implemented full meaningful implementation for the default method. For the default method. Okay, okay. Just example. I want to write one default method. I want to write default method. Okay. Int int hash code. Int hash code. Can I write return 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 10? Return 10. Then what will be happened if you write hash code method as default method in your interface, then then it will work or not? We'll check Java C. We'll get the compile time error. Okay, okay. We need to remove that M3 is not there. Okay, okay. One second, we will compile that. Compiler will give the left and right because hash code method already in hash code method already in object class, then it is already available to the test class. Then why we are writing that hash code method again in interface will available to the implementation class? Object class method we cannot declare as a default. Means object class method we cannot declare as a default method. What is the need of bringing this method to the implementation class? It is not really required. It is already available to that implementation class because it is that hash code method is available in object class. Can you please tell, sir? Can you please tell, sir? Can you please tell, sir, what is Java does not support multiple inheritance? Java does not support multiple inheritance. Java does not support multiple inheritance with respect to the class. It's called as diamond problem. It's called as diamond problem. Then I have a class. I have a class A having method as M1 and another class having method as M2, method as M1, also M1 same. You try to do my test class, test extend A1, A1 and A2. We'll give one example here. We'll give an example here. Okay, okay. One more example. Notepad. We'll go. Just example. Need to class. I have a class like class test one. You test. You can give any name. Class test A. Test A. Public static void main. There itself we can change that class. Okay. I have this one. Just example. I'll write another class. Class A. Then class B. Okay. Okay. Then class A X class new test extend A comma B. A comma B. Then I have a method like public void m1 public void m1 and similar same method in v2 I want to override that method inside the my test method. I want to access that method. Then what will happen here? That compiler will give compile time error. Will check compiler will give compile time error or it will execute. Yeah. First, Java cannot extend multiple classes simultaneously. Java does not support. Java, first option is Java does not support multiple extend simultaneously. Then there is no way to specify which method will call. Actually, two methods are same. Another case is two method are same m1 here method name is same how to call which method it will call in your implementation class. Okay, Java will give the compile time error. Then we'll go for the interface like this, just like instead of class we can put interface a interface face b interface A, interface B. I have to default method M1, default method M2, default method M1, default method M2. Then I need to override that and need to dot test test dot test dot M1 M1 test dot M1. Then you need to change here implements abc. Just comment this line. We'll see how Java is compiling this code or not. I have two interface A, interface B. I have a default method M1 in interface A, default method another default method M1 in a B. I want to implement that interface in my implementation class, and I need to run this program. Abhasi here will give the compile time error. Then here you give the compile time implements a comma b. If you write to override default method, then then that compile time error will gone. Means means Java success the default method successfully working respect to the multiple inheritance. Then that is the concept of a default method. Why we need default method? We need default method because without affecting the implementation class, we can happily add a new functionality in your new method in your interface. It's called as default method. Then we'll go for the static. We'll go for the static method. What is static method? What is static method? First, we'll check what is static method. Static method in Java 8. Java 8. Okay, check that. First, sir, in Java, we have class and interface. Class and interface. Class and interface. Then, then, which one is powerful? Which one is powerful in Java? Which one is powerful in Java? Which one is lightweight concept? Which one is lightweight? Which one is heavyweight? Sir, give, answer. Which one is lightweight? Remember, interface always lightweight. Why? Interface always lightweight. Why? Interface does not contain constructor, does not contain static block, does not contain instant block. We also cannot create the object of interface. Creating object is very costly. That's why interface is lightweight. Interface is lightweight compared to Java. Java has so many interface is lightweight, sorry, compared to class, not Java. Compared to class is very costly, sir, because the content constructor it create the object that is very costly operation and the static block, instant block. That's why class is lightweight. Then another thing, if you ins- if you then static. What is static? Static means it is. How can you use static? Static means it is nowhere object, nowhere related to object, nowhere related to object. Instance method always associated with static, always associated with the object. But static method nowhere related to object. If nowhere related to object, static method is no related to nowhere related to object, nowhere related to object, and 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 interface is lightweight. It is nowhere related to. Just example, I have a method m1 public static key m1 method. It is nowhere related to object and interface is lightweight. Then Java people are Java people are analyze if everything is static, nowhere related to object, nowhere related to object, never worked with object, and interface is lightweight. Interface is lightweight. Better to go for the interface. Better to write that starting method in interface because Java is heavyweight and interface is lightweight. Static is nowhere related to object. That's why Java people analyze you can add that static method inside the interface. Then if you add that starting method in interface, then your performance will be better compared to if you add the starting method in the class, because class is heavyweight, interface is lightweight. From the Java 1.8 onwards, interface can support static method. Interface can support interface I. It can support static method, static, public static m1 void m1 can support static method inside the interface. So remember, because it is nowhere related to object, if method nowhere related to object, that is need to no need to go for class. From Java 1.8 version onwards, interface also contains static method. Remember that because static method nowhere related to object, why you should go for the costly object, costly class terminology. If that class is nowhere related to object, why will you go for very costly object creation and very costly class terminology? Better to run our requirement, better to run our requirement meant with interface only. Then interface, then that is the way. In Java 8 they introduce static method. Okay, I have the static method. This one public static void system.out.println, system.out.println of of inside interface static method, inside inter static method. Okay, semicolon. Okay, we'll go to the program. We'll provide some implementation class, how it is working. Okay, we'll go there. Just example, I have otherwise we'll go to this one. Okay, I have the interface. I have interface C. I have the deep starting method like public static void m1 system.out.println inside interface. I implement that interface C. Then then how many way I can call these the static method in my implementation class? How many ways I can call? I can call by first option is I can create the object of the my implementation class like that, like that. new test t equal to new test, that is the object t dot m1, that is the one way, first one, is the first one. Okay, then second way, if you implement that, then by default that will available. If you implementing that interface, then by default that m1 method will available to the my implementation class. You can call directly by m1. You can directly call m1. That is the second way, that is the second way. Third one, you can call that by using test, class name, new test of m1 m1 new test of m1. Then that is the third way. You can call that method. That is the fourth one. You can call that method, static method, by by using the interface name. Interface is c dot m1. Now we'll verify which one is valid, which one is not valid. That is four way you can call that static method in interface. Then which one is valid, among them which one is valid, which one is invalid? Tell me, sir, which one is valid, which one is not valid? Then we'll check, we'll compile that class. We'll get the compile time error. We'll go public static void main. It is the compile time error. Public static void main. We'll get the compile time error. Compile time error, because we cannot call this line number. We are getting the error. We cannot the call the static method by using object of the implementation class. Also we cannot call, that is also invalid. Then we'll remove that. Then we'll run. Yeah, that is also invalid. All three are invalid. Only we can call that default static method by using the interface name. By using the interface name, we'll run that. It will execute or not. Pub- Public static key admin stick class testing new test implements. We are missing something or not. Interface we missed here. That's why that is the, yeah. Now it is working properly. If you write, yeah, only we can call that by using, only we can call that by using the interface name. If you try to call by t dot m1, t dot m1, what will happen? We'll get the compile time error. We'll get the compile time error. Yeah, we'll get the compile time error. we cannot call like this. I can, sir, I can call by using the class name dot 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 m1. Will give what will happen? Will give the compile time error. Yeah. Then that will also not work. Only one will work. By using interface name, you can call the static method inside your implementation class. Inside your implementation class. Then I'll run that Java new tests. Yeah, inside the uh, interface static method. Mm. Then only one option is valid, that is you can call static method by using interface name. Okay, you can you can call you can call that static method by using interface name, either it is in implementation class or non-implementation class. The static method should be called by the interface, called by the implementation class by using the interface name. Interface name. Then because of that, because it is a static method, no here related to class and no priority to implementation class. No priority to implementation class. Compulsory means it is a static, because it is static method, no here related to object. That's why no priority to implementation class. Compulsory you have to call explicitly. You have to call explicitly in implementation class or a non-implementation class by using the interface name. By using the interface name. When it is not an implementation class, the code will work properly. Code will work or not? Code will work properly. Yes, sir. There is no problem. Yes, sir. There is no problem. If it is not an implementation class, if you call that static method by using interface name in your non-implementation class, it will work. It will perfectly, it will work. It will not get any compile time error. Java 1.8 version onward, Java 1.8 version onward, this method is method is called as the static method. To static method, it is inside the interface, because it will give the, because it interface is lightweight and it will give the more performance your program will increase. Okay okay just example, it is possible, one question is it possible to declare main method inside the interface or not? Is it possible to declare a main method inside the interface or not? We'll check. We'll check. Public static void main string arrays. If you write like this, what will happen? We'll check. Yeah, will not get a compile time error. Means Java 1.8 onwards, that main method also you can write in the interface. From which one version onward main method can write, you can declare inside the interface. Java 1.8 version onwards will not get a compile time error. If you then then static nowhere related to object. Static nowhere related to object. When you will go for the class, when will go for the class, better to go for the interface. Static is nowhere related to the class, then why will go for the class, better to go for the interface. So automatically performance will increases, program performance will increases. General utility method, if you are not if you are not required to go for class, for general utility method you are not, you will not go for the class, better to go for interface concept. Unnecessary memory will waste, memory will waste. I'll give one example. If if you want a cook in your home, if you want a cook in your home for cooking purpose, then you have to hire cook only, you have to hire cook only, not not an IAS officer, not an engineer. That is you require one cook, you are hiring an engineer. That is just stupid things. That is just stupid things. Just example, I'll give an example here. Now, just example, India importing oils different from the different country. Actually, now war is going on Russia and Ukraine. Because of that, America and Europe company put sanction on the Russia. No one can trade, no one can trade with Russia. But India want to import oil from different country. America is providing that, exporting the oil, crude oil to India also, and Russia also providing. But for the America, for the America, you have to, if you go to America and import oil, it will very costly, because it will very costly. But but Russia is giving 30% discount. Russia is giving 30% discount. Then which one is better? We will go for the America or we will go for Russia? We will go for Russia because Russia is first thing. Russia is giving the 30% discount. America is not giving any discount. Okay. Second thing, if you trade with America, then will do by the dollar. But Russia is agree. Russia is agree to give, to trade by rupees. Then which one is better? You have to go for America for trading the oil, import the oil, or you have to go Russia. You have to go Russia. Like this. Here, class is heavyweight. Same thing, same functionality you will get, but class is heavyweight. That is costly operation. Why will go there? Same oil you will get from the both the country. But if you go to America, you will import, then that is very costly. But if you go to Russia, you'll get very lightweight because we'll get 30% discount. You can trade with our currency. Then like this, that is a concept. If everything is static, go to the class. It's stupid things. Everything is static, go to the class. It's stupid things because interface is lightweight. Lightweight. If you go for the interface, if you write a static method, automatically your program performance will increase. Okay, then that is the static method and default method. Okay, we'll go to next topic.